I just got a new putting green put in backyard, and with any putting green, you probably need something to hold your putters. So what I'm gonna be doing today is coming in the trusty old garage, and we're going to be building, excuse all the mess in the background, we're going to be building a putter holder, and I've decided to build this thing 36 inches wide, and I'm going to be building it out of 2x4s and 1x12s, and possibly may use some tongue and groove somewhere, I'm not sure. But again, I'm gonna do it 36 inches wide. I'm gonna do it 12 inches deep. And my goal is to hold a putter every 3 inches on this thing. We'll see how it turns out in just a few minutes. But I'm going to make this cut at 36 inches right here. Yes, I'm using the pink tape measure again. So anyway. Now, I made my mark at 36 inches. Gonna go ahead and make that first cut. Next, we made a 45-degree cut on this end. We're gonna make a box all the way around this 1x12. We're gonna make a 45-degree cut on this end, and we'll do that all the way around the box. Now, all I've done is went through and used this old sander, and understand, guys, I am no woodworker, okay? I'm doing this just kind of feeling my way through it, trying to figure it out. If you got any suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'd love to take one and get better at what I do. But all I did was take this little sander, and I sanded every one of the 2x4s, every side of them, except for the 45-degree cut. Next thing I'm gonna do is probably tack them in with a little brad nailer, just to hold them still. And then we'll figure out, probably use some wood glue, that kind of thing, and some clamps, and get them all in place, get the corners lined up just right. But as you can see, it's gonna make a nice box. Now, what I plan on doing at the end is putting turf all in the inside of this, make it look really nice, and then two tall legs on each side. And then from that, we'll attach our top, and hopefully we'll be able to get all of our cuts in and all of our clubs held. Now, what I decided to do is initially tack from underneath this 1x12 into the 2x4, and I'm going to use this brad nailer. And I've decided to go with the Arrow 18 gauge brad nails. They're 1.5 inches. I had 1.25 inches loaded in there, but just for a little more strength to hold it. Again, long enough for me to get the Kreg jig probably and put the screws in it the right way from the bottom where you can't see them. I'm gonna try to use these and see if it'll hold. Now, what I've done is just got me a couple clamps just to hold this where it's a nice straight line. I glued it along this entire seam, and then we're just tacking it from underneath with the brad nailer for right now. Then I'll go back with the Kreg jig just to make sure it's really, really secure. Now, as you can see, that worked out really well. I've still got my clamps holding it. I've glued every joint here, every joint along here. All the corners are glued. I'll go back and caulk them if I decide to paint it instead of stain it. Just where it'll hold a little bit better. But I got these clamps, I'm gonna leave them on there for a little while. But I'll flip it over and probably go underneath with some screws where you just can't see them. And I think that'll make it a lot more stable and last a lot longer. But all in all, that's why the box is gonna look. And next thing we're gonna do is build the two legs, and then we'll build the top. Now, next thing I did was just marked off my board, my 2x4, for my legs at 29 inches right here. And then I took and just did a chalk line, which I learned real quick. You can't see once you start using jigsaw, and just made an angle cut just to give it a little bit of character and a little lean to that board. That way we can stand it up there. And we'll just duplicate this with the other leg. We'll just make a copy of this one. And all I did in this step was just lay this up here, clamped it where you make an exact duplicate of the other leg. That way it matches. Just make a mark here and a mark all the way down through here. Now, the next step I did is cut a 36-inch board across here, because that's the same width as my base and my box. Cut a 36-inch board. I'm going to attach it there. Nothing's attached right now, so nothing's lined up perfect, so that's why it might look a little bit off. But again, that's the next step. Now, what I'm going to do after that is take a hole saw, and every 3 inches I'm going to make a mark and make a hole. And then I'm going to cut in the middle of that hole to make the indentions for the clubs to sit in. And I'll show you that in just a second. Now, all I'm doing in this step is I'm just going to pre-drill 2 holes, and I'm using 2.5-inch screws like these, 2.5-inch exterior screws just to hold these legs on. Should be very adequate for that. Now, just for reference, what I did was I made a chalk line all the way down that would represent where the bottom of this board would be. And then I marked off 1 inch, and then I went to 3 inches. So 3 inches is where the edge of my first hole is going to be with my hole saw. And it's going to look something like that. It's a 2 1/4 inch hole saw. And I'm going to go every 3 inches, put a hole all the way down. Okay, should be enough for 10 clubs, hopefully. Hopefully it all works. And then we'll go back and saw off on the chalk line. So we'll see how this works. Now the last step, you can see I attached the top of it. I've already made the cuts in there. All I did with that was just use the hole saw and then cut the holes in half all the way down the board and sanded it. I got a lot more sanding to do on that tomorrow. It's getting late on July 4th. I don't even know why I'm doing this right now, but I wanted to, and I want to get it done. Now the last thing to do is I'm trimming up the carpet and I'm gonna put the turf inside here, and then we'll see what it looks like. All right, this is the final product. You can see I got the carpet put in the bottom of it. I hadn't got it attached. I'll do that tomorrow. It's late and I want to go watch a few fireworks with my kids. July 4th, but it holds 10 clubs. Any kind of clubs you want to put in there. I'm mainly going to put putters, but I put putters, old wood driver, a couple wedges in there just so you can see how it all fits. The corners turned out really good, just 45-degree angles. Very happy with the way the little cutouts for each club turned out. Try to stain it tomorrow and see what it looks like. But overall, most of my projects are first time I've ever tried this kind of stuff. Just trying to learn some stuff. But if you got any suggestions, feel free to let me know what they are. And make sure to like and subscribe.